The following may contain language which will be offensive to some people and inappropriate for children. Still here? Then pour your favorite beverage and let's get this fucking show started.
Assemble! You are watching Fantastic Forum, the premier show about comic books and your live weekly conversation about entertainment and geek culture. We are the Fantastic Forum, coming to you live and direct from the Hall of F. Hope you're having a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night, as the case may be, depending on where you are in the world. And if you're not, you should stick with us. We'll help you take it up a notch. You have the usual suspects in the building. First and foremost, he is our riddle, inside of an enigma, trapped in Chinese finger cuffs. You don't know that guy, but you love that guy. He's our silent assassin, Jay.
Hey, what's up?
Next, he's our intrepid senior reporter. He's next in line for the cowl. He's our resident Dark Knight detective, eating ice cream. It's Oz.
Best damn ice cream in the state. Hashtag not sponsored.
Hashtag never forget. Indeed. Next, he's the backbone, the pillar, the strength of Fantastic Forum, our nigh invulnerable brawler and resident strongman, Moses Magnum.
It happened again, Larry.
Oh no. What'd you buy now?
No, I went to a comic book shop and I tried to buy every white cover for Spawn, and they didn't let me.
What do you mean they didn't let you? They take money?
They said I have to be part of a pull list
To buy the white covers?
right to place a special order.
Oh, to place a special. Damn.
I told them, look, I want 2 of each of these. It's 9 books total. I'll buy 18 of them, and I go, I'll pay for them right now on the spot. I just don't want to have to. They're like, no, well, so they sent me an email from Previews World.
Mm-hmm.
I have to log into my Previews World account to get a pull list with that comic shop.
Why don't you just hand them a list of your books? Say, here's a list. Now pull them.
That's the same people from last time where they didn't have Draculina #1 because they don't order it for the shelf. They order it only for pull list people, but never once told me how I can get on the pull list.
Now they're like, oh,
See, Comixology doesn't treat you like that.
You're hilarious.
But they also don't give you white covers.
You can't get an artist to draw on a Comixology white cover.
Well, here's the thing.
That's your phone, dummy. No.
I could.
Not your phone.
Well, thanks to Amazon, you can't get your comics on Comixology now.
Oh,
they're all messed up too. So so yeah. So
they fix that yet?
Huh? They haven't. Although I did have a Mo deal because I tried to buy Superior Spider-Man Omnibus, just the whole thing, and the paperback is $3,000. But with Comixology and the Comixology discount, the unlimited discount, it came out to $849.
$849?
No, $8.40. Well, 849 cents.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't. You said it was $3,000, so I didn't know.
Yeah,
well,
2,900 and something discount. Sorry, I can only count to 21.
It happens. By the way, Mary Young, welcome to Fantastic Forum. Go ahead, Jay.
Speaking of how much Comixology sucks now, I really miss the add to cart button. Like, I really miss being able to just have a whole cart full of stuff and buy it all at once instead of buying each book individually.
Wait, so they used to have an add to cart button for Comixology, and now it's gone? Like, you only can buy, like, you're like, oh, you want this book? You got to buy each book one by one?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Man, I don't have any of these problems.
It's fucking stupid.
Comics.
It's what?
Yeah, but they also don't have everything.
They have everything I need, including white covers.
Oh,
yeah, but
Midtown Comics for all your comic book needs online and hashtag not what is it? Not sponsored.
Never
Yeah,
forget.
but it's your
Great
scope.
game.
It's everything you need. I was like, your scope is so narrow. It's like, what, they have Green Lantern?
Scope is so narrow.
They have Green Lantern and Booster Gold. Like, that's all your comic book needs.
Nightwing.
Nightwing. I like the look. It was just so perfect. Nightwing. You're like, sometimes Harley Quinn.
Little Dick is happy. I'm happy.
That's fair.
Yeah.
We'll take your comments directly out of chat, bring them into the show, such as insert witty chat comment here, Jay.
Tiger Claw says, "What's up, Fantastic Forum? We are on the eve of what could possibly be the greatest video game movie of all time. In fact, some theaters are showing it tonight, but I plan on seeing it this Saturday. Y'all should too."
I love that.
Ready?
It's so good. He didn't even say the name. He's like, y'all know what I'm talking about.
And I did.
Right. Sonic 2. Listen, I'm mad that I'm excited to see this joint. I hit Joe up today. I was like, hey, man, you trying to go see Sonic 2? What's up?
Yeah. And I will say Tiger Claw actually got some merch that he's going to be wearing to the show.
Fantastic Four merch?
No, he's not on board like that.
Damn, Claw.
But
I thought you loved us.
We should just buy him one. He'll wear it.
Maybe.
I
You have to
believe
wait
that.
for only to the Fantastic Four movie premiere.
Only while he listens to the show on audio.
Like Tiger Claw will call in with the Fantastic Four shirt on, but won't show the picture. Like he won't have his camera.
Call in. He'll be in chat.
I'm wearing the shirt, guys. No, what merch? Oh, there's the claw right there. What up, Tiger Claw? That's like it's a nice shirt.
I guess that means I have to see this tomorrow.
Yeah.
Why do you have to see it tomorrow? Because Tiger Claw will ruin it?
My only day off.
Oh, gotcha.
I had to watch Morbius a week ago for this show.
Damn, I'm sorry, friend.
I have to remind myself why I was angry.
Yeah.
Since, so I don't forget.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Hashtag never forget.
I told you. Hashtag never forget. I told you.
That's the title of this episode.
Damn. Interesting indeed. But listen, here's the messed up part too, is Tiger Claw might not be wrong about this.
Nah. I mean,
I think Uncharted is doing well, right?
Yeah, Uncharted is doing really well.
So did Uncharted beat Sonic out already, or it is looking like it's going to? I don't remember which one because I know it's relatively new.
That I would have to look it up.
Yeah, I feel like Uncharted might either be getting ready to beat Sonic as far as like the highest grossing video game movie, or has already done it.
It's the 5th highest grossing video game film of all time.
Uncharted?
Yeah.
Oh, what's the first?
I'm pulling up the list.
Oh. I was like, you said it was the 5th, so I just assumed you had the list already. I'm sorry. I understand that you did a specific search, and I appreciate that, Jay. You're on task. Thank you, friend.
While he's looking at that, Tiger Claw says, "Don't worry, Sonic."
Wait, go ahead, Moses, and then we'll go back to Jay.
Tiger Claw in chat says, "Don't worry, Sonic 2 is the light at the end of the tunnel after watching Morbius."
Okay, Jay, what did you say?
I said I was in and then I played to pull up the article. That's like loading.
Oh, Jay, you're whatchamacallit. Your internet's kind of crapping out, friend. I'm sorry. Or is that just me?
No, it's
okay.
Or either it's me and you.
No.
The internet just can't go at Jay's speed.
I was actually frozen. No.
I'm looking at stuff. I'm trying to get the numbers for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Anything current for Uncharted.
I feel like, but Sonic was the #1 video game movie when it came out, like after it debuted, right?
I don't think so. Because it didn't get too much time to be in the
Pokemon's made more than Detective Pikachu's made more than Sonic.
Detective Pikachu, Warcraft, and Angry Birds are ahead of Uncharted.
Oh, and is Sonic on that list at all, or no? I thought for some reason Sonic was on that list, but I guess I'm wrong.
Critically, one of the greatest of all time, but money-wise, I mean, it was only out a week before everything shut down, so I don't think people that wanted. I know Emily wanted to see it, and she didn't get to see it.
That's true. Sonic was the last movie that me and Jay and Raymond, we were all together. We saw that in theaters, and then the world shut down.
Yeah, it's a wonderful time.
Yeah, it's crazy because it's like, I mean, I guess we're pretty much back, I guess now, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, we're back.
You know, but it's insane how long it took.
I would point out that Rampage has made more money than Sonic.
Wait, Rampage made more money than Sonic?
Rampage?
Yeah.
Damn, that would be sad.
I got the numbers now.
Okay.
Warcraft is #1.
Well, okay.
What? I feel like you were going to say something.
No, go ahead.
Oh.
I was, but do your thing first.
Warcraft is #1. Detective Pikachu is #2. And you got Rampage, Angry Birds, Uncharted, Prince of Persia, and then Sonic.
Damn.
So these are just going by box office numbers, not by whether they're actually good or not. Because
no, of course,
that's what Lawrence asked, was box office.
Yeah, I did ask about box office numbers. Yeah. No question on that.
Prince of Persia was terrible.
No, Prince of Persia wasn't good. Friggin' Rampage isn't good.
Rampage isn't even like the game. Like, the game has one simple thing: people turning into monsters, and they couldn't even get that fucking right. So basically, in order to make this movie, they had to completely change the entire premise of the game in order to make a Rampage movie. I don't even think that should count as a video game movie.
Jay is like, listen, y'all didn't follow the premise of the game close enough, even for tweaking purposes. So y'all aren't based on the game no more.
That's the same argument I have for the Joker.
Y'all not like the comic at all, so y'all not really a Joker.
Like, it's not even the same origin, like none of that. It's a totally different dude.
Yeah, that guy. Who's that guy? It's like I met that guy on the bus.
Yeah. That's the crackhead that taught me how to box when I was 6.
There's going to be a different origin for the new Joker. Were you talking about the new Joker or the Joaquin Phoenix?
Joaquin Phoenix.
New Joker's going to have a new origin too.
Yeah. At this point, they like.
I mean, we're not really like. Look, Joker origins aren't what matter, though.
Right.
What matters is what the character acts like, right? Like, does it feel like the Joker? And I think ultimately what Moses is saying is Joaquin Phoenix's Joker doesn't feel like the Joker.
It feels like every other like angry white man movie.
Yeah, it's 20 whatever year that came out. It's Falling Down.
Yeah,
Falling Down was good though.
Damn, really Jay's like Jay's like Joker, not so much. No, Falling Down is great. I agree.
I can see where that dude was coming from. Like
Falling Down or Joker?
Yeah, Falling Down. Like I can see where he's coming from.
Yeah, absolutely.
Joker's just crazy. It's like, I mean, I guess.
Yeah.
Like I almost bought a band shirt and then I decided not to because the back it said you get what you fucking deserve, and it's that scene of the Joker where he's blowing his brains out on TV. And I'm like, man, that was the best scene in the movie, but that's not even the real Joker like that. So I didn't buy it.
Wait, the Joker? When you say blowing his brains out, not his brains? Like
no, the TV guys.
Well, you say it's the Joker blowing his brains out. That means it's the Joker committing suicide.
No, everybody
blows one set of brains out.
Well, the movie blows, period. But If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm saying, Larry.
Okay, I was just double checking. I was like, okay, you know me. I love syntax. Leave me alone.
Yeah, syntax doesn't love you.
Look, it's so true. That's so true. I'm syntax's side piece.
Tiger Claw says Sonic 2 has 67% on Rotten Tomatoes with 69 reviews as we speak. It could go either way as the more reviews pop up. It's going to go both ways, Tiger Claw. 69.
Woo! No, okay. But anyway, with all that said, if you want to get down Fantastic Forum, you know what? I don't know that let me turn on the link tree before I start saying stuff. Hold on. Here it is. It's done though. It's done. It's done now. If you want to call into the show, go to fantasticforum.live and you can call into the show. Or if you want to watch us, which you're probably already doing.
You're not going to let the lady say it?
Oh, let the lady say it.
Of course he doesn't want the woman to
Want to get in on the action? Call Fantastic Forum on Skype and join the fun. Too shy to call in? That's okay. You can join the Discord chat room available at
fantasticforum.live.
Join the party. You know you want to.
And yes, you can get to our Discord chat room through fantasticforum.live.
Yeah, good job, Moses.
Nice.
Thank you, friend. Yeah. Thank you. So go to fantasticforum.live if you're listening already and you want to chat, or if you want to, you can go to YouTube, of course, and to Twitch. In those chat rooms, you can call in with the call-in button. You can go to our Discord, all that. We want to hear from you. This is an interactive show. So, we appreciate if you enjoy listening to us speak, but we want to hear your opinions as well. Or at least I do. I won't speak for the rest of the forum. I won't speak for the rest of the forum. You never know. Depending on what day of the week it is, these guys may not want to hear stuff. They barely want to hear me.
Yeah.
See? Exactly.
Wrap it up. You're going on too long with this.
Right. He's like, okay. So with that said, it's time to talk about Morbius. Jay, you see that video? Or no?
No.
Don't worry. I got it. It's time to talk about Morbius. Here we go. This is your Fantastic Forum News One Shot. I'm Mayor Young. Morbius has finally hit theaters and the weekend box office is in. The Sony Pictures comic book film debuted at number 1 with a domestic take of $39.1 million in its first weekend. Internationally, Morbius earned an additional $44.9 million, leading to a global total of $84 million. Currently, it's unclear if the film is going to release in the Chinese market. These numbers beat the projected box office performance despite strong negative reviews from critics. It currently has a 70% on Rotten Tomatoes in contrast to a 69% audience score. What did you think of Morbius? Let us know in the comments below, or join us live on Fantastic Forum every Wednesday night at 6:30 Pacific at fantasticforum.live. I'm realizing after the fact I probably should let somebody play review music first, huh?
Yeah, I can still do it if you want.
Do it. I like review music.
Comic book theater.
Thank you.
Sorry, Cloud. I'm already giving you homework for next week.
Oh, Lord. What's he doing?
Video game theater.
Oh. I should mention that Morbius, the update is 16% on the tomato meter and 70% audience score, because I don't want to shortchange Morbius, but
it needs all the it needs all the credit it gets.
Listen, if I'm not mistaken, I'm like the review score went down, like the critic score went down and the audience score went up. So I don't know what that means. Take it for what you will. But that's where we're at right now. So gentlemen, let's talk about Morbius. Jay, why don't we start with you, friend? Will you give me some initial thoughts on Morbius? Here's what I'll ask you all. I'm gonna ask all of you to do. in one sentence, tell me what your thoughts are on Morbius. Jay, go for it.
The character wasn't as dumb as the trailer made him seem.
Fair. Oz.
Morbius is has now been added to my list of movies that I point to when somebody says this so and so has all these awards. They're going to be great in this part.
That's your counter example.
It was Halle Berry, but Jared Leto is coming up quick.
There it is.
Then it was Ewan McGregor as Black Mask.
That's a whole another. Don't get me started.
Like that's a whole other discussion because that movie's actually good when you watch it on mute.
Everybody's in it's hot. I get it.
It's not even about that. Just the action scenes and when you don't know what the story is and who's what. It's tight.
Moses, you want to tell us about
one sentence about Morbius? One sentence about
Morbius, yeah.
Well, the one sentence is that 100% of the consensus from the audience score that I interviewed on my free time is 100% rotten. Like nobody that saw it that I know liked it.
That's fair.
I didn't watch it.
Right. I think if I'm going to talk about it in one sentence, I'm going to say it would have been good in the 90s. And that's what I'm going to say. It's my one sentence. It would have been good in the 90s. So let's talk about it. And, for those of you, they're going to be, that haven't seen Morbius yet, there are going to be some spoilers, but are they really? Yeah. Are they really spoilers? Listen. I feel like if you wanted to see this movie, you probably would have seen it by now. But and you're going to see it when it is out of theaters and on some streaming service or on cable or something. But you'll have probably forgotten what we're going to say at this point for the most part, or it's not going to affect your enjoyment. What's Tiger Claw talking about?
It says the fact of the matter is Morbius's days are numbered once the blue justice hits the streets. It's talking about Sonic.
Listen, I'm sitting here like I don't know what he's talking about. The blue justice. I'm like, does anybody call Sonic blue justice?
He calls himself in the movie.
Jay, who calls Sonic blue justice?
Sonic.
In the movie.
I just told you.
Wait, what did you just say?
He has.
I sure didn't listen to you. I apologize. What were you saying?
I said he calls himself that in the movie when he pretending to be Batman. It's in the trailer. It's not a shock. If you didn't know that, you weren't paying attention.
I mean, I'm already in. That's a new trailer. I'm assuming because I don't remember.
It's the first trailer.
The first trailer he calls himself Blue Justice.
That's how it opens. He's on a rooftop calling himself Blue Justice.
Yeah. He's even talking gravelly.
Okay, well, I'm sure I enjoyed it when I watched it in the trailer. I don't think I enjoy it when you all do it. Because I'm sure
Tiger Claw does it.
I'm sure Sonic was talking about it.
Because you hate Tiger Claw.
No, I love Tiger Claw. Everyone knows that about Tiger Claw and me. So they're gonna be spoilers. If you haven't seen it, you'll be okay. I promise you. I promise you. And I don't know. Oz, Jay, back me up here. Am I wrong in thinking if you haven't seen it and what we're gonna say about it, you're gonna be all right?
Yeah, I mean, I was able to see what was going to happen. That's how obvious it is, because I'm pretty dense when it comes to movie stuff. But even I saw everything coming. You actually probably know this movie already, even if you haven't seen it.
You've seen a 90s superhero movie. It's that plot. It's that plot. It's come on, man. Listen, here's the thing that shocked me. I guess I wasn't paying attention to all the people that are in Morbius, and I was like, oh goddamn, like I'm like Matt Smith's in this. Wait a minute, is that Tyrese? Who let Tyrese in here? there are people in this movie where I was just like, I didn't know that guy was in this movie. I was like, damn. Like,
Tyrese should not have been.
Tyrese felt like he just kind of wandered in, and they just like started talking to him. He's like, yeah, okay, and then he's in the movie.
Dude,
like,
they got two
out of
police
shape and like.
Wait, what? Is Tyrese out of shape in this movie?
Yeah, he looks really bad.
Oh, jeez. I'll take that, Tyrese.
Do you see him doing anything other than standing there, looking at stuff?
He's not even acting. Like,
I mean, does Tyrese ever?
Yeah, like
I seen Four Brothers.
He's not a great actor, but at the very least, he puts like emotion into it. Like he feels like a human being. And this, he's more like a cardboard cutout.
Dude, well, here's the thing: Tyrese plays one of two police detectives, and Tyrese is definitely the more kind of like harder core, like straight, like the detective that you're supposed to be afraid of. Like if they're doing like good cop, bad cop, he's the bad cop, and then the other guy is more of the like comic relief. He's supposed to be the more like fun kind of the cop with the personality. And you know, he's not necessarily that great at that in this movie.
He brought the holy water to the interview. Like
it's terrible. It's terrible.
That cemented his place for me. Like
that whole little bit was the worst. And I was like, look, there it's literally a scene this is probably the seminal scene for these two characters. They arrest Morbius. They're in like a interrogation or in an interrogation room or whatever. They have him like literally handcuffed to a desk and they're trying to talk to him. They don't ask him any relevant questions. but the fact of the matter is this fool comes in and he puts a little thing on the desk, a little vial on the desk, and Tyrese immediately recognizes it as holy water, which I'm not exactly sure why. Like, I don't know if that's do you all know something that I don't? Like, I mean, I was raised Catholic, so I'm familiar with holy water, but I don't know that there's like a particular vial or something that you keep holy water in. Because I know when he put that
specific thing that he brought on and put on the table, I literally have on one of my shelves.
Yeah,
and it's for holy water specifically.
It is a vial of holy water that I got from a Benedictine monk in a monastery.
Yeah,
and he blessed it as he handed it to me. Like that's actually a thing that I actually literally I did.
And when you go pray for people at their house, you take it with you. Like you put it on their forehead and do the sign of the cross and stuff.
Listen, I like I said, I was raised Catholic. I've never, now don't get me wrong, I mean, people of my family, like I've never had.
You're not real priest. Catholic, like that's
how am I not real Catholic?
You're like, I don't want to say it. Oz knows what I'm talking about. You're like black people Catholic, not Mexican.
What does
Catholic.
that even mean? What is black people Catholic?
Oz knows what it means. He'll explain it to you. He doesn't cringe.
There's no such thing as black people.
Spot. Okay.
Yeah, there kind of is. Or at the very least, there is Mexican Catholic. Like,
yeah, that's hard.
Mexican Catholic is hardcore.
But no, I mean, and that I get. But I mean, is it Mexican specifically, or is it like Latin Catholic?
No, it's Mexican.
No, it's Mexican.
I'll say this. I'll say it this way. I've been to Catholic services in what would be considered a black church because it was predominantly black area, and had a great time.
Yeah.
Now you go to a Mexican Catholic church,
no fun.
You come out feeling like a piece of shit for existing. Yeah. Like how dare your existence is a sin upon the earth.
You remember that scene in Da Vinci Code where the albino dude has that metal chain and he just keeps
flagellating himself.
Yeah. In Mexican culture, Mexican Catholicism, they do that to you in your soul, in your brain, not physical.
Okay, hey, listen. If you all want to say Mexican Catholics do things different in a very specific kind of way, I mean, trust me.
Look, here's the thing. Here's the thing. When white people taught black people about Jesus, they didn't ruin their genetic line. When Catholics made Mexican Catholics, they bred Catholicism into them. They destroyed their whole culture by breeding with them.
I don't know what you're talking about right now.
You know what I'm talking about.
I'm not.
He's talking about the conquistadors in that era.
When missionaries would go to like Africa or India or even Asia, like they wouldn't breed with the locals to make sure they believe. But with Latin America, they did.
Okay. Listen, we can say that if you want. Look, hey, I'll leave it be.
Proof is in the pudding that was inserted into my great grandmother.
Listen, what I will say to you is this: is I didn't recognize that immediately as a vial of holy water, and so I was like, "What is like? Why? How does he know that that's holy water? And if that's was the cop Mexican?"
It's Hollywood. He was brown. That's close enough.
Yeah. Oh, well,
there you go. Indian, but he was playing Mexican.
No, I like okay.
His name was Sanjay Gupta.
So
Rodriguez.
He puts the vial of holy water on the desk, and Tyrese is like, "You brought holy water?" He's like, "Hey, I was just trying to cover my bases," because he, in case the guy is actually a vampire. And it's like, okay, dude. Like I said, that's probably the seminal scene for these two cops that are completely useless. Like, that's the thing that probably bothered me the most about those two characters, where I'm like, you could have taken them out of the movie, and I'm not sure that anything would have been missing. Which I'm just like, I don't. So why are they
10
there?
minutes of runtime.
Huh?
10 minutes of runtime would have been missing.
That's fair, and I guess if that's the case, then it's a like straight to DVD movie, right? There. wait. Put it back up. That's different than what was in the show.
It's
or
not
was in the movie.
Nah, but it's the same concept. I mean, you saw it in Freddy Krueger. Was it 4? Renammer and Elm Street 4. You saw it in Midnight Mass on Netflix. Showed it. It was a little different.
The fact is, you could buy holy water on Amazon.
Yeah.
No, I know you can get holy water. That wasn't the thing that threw me. I was just like, I was just like, how does he look at that and recognize it immediately as holy water? Like it could have been perfume.
Yeah.
Why would he bring perfume?
Why would he bring holy water?
Because he's possibly a vampire.
You got him handcuffed in a room. If it's a vampire, then like if that's what you believe, then at the very least bring more than the little thing, right? Like it's like, dude, like there's so many things that are wrong with this joint. Like it's like if you think there's actually a vampire in that room, like you can talk to that fool through a screen.
The power of Jesus is enough. Like you have little faith, Larry. That's Black Catholicism at work.
That's what it is. It's Black Catholicism at work. we should have been bred by more Spaniards. Everyone knows this.
Or British. Right.
Right.
They're Catholic too. Some of them.
Except for the Anglicans. Yeah. They're Catholic light. Oh, dang Anglicans. Don't at me, Anglicans. Don't at me. Anyway.
They're the ones that
just because you called me a liar to my face.
Who called you a liar?
You.
What I lie? What did I tell you? I lied. You lied about
the bottle of holy water. Here,
I don't think I told you that you called you a liar at all.
I brought up the scene. That's literally like the exact same bottle that I have.
Is it?
I share.
Let's see. Play it.
It's sharing. Well, if I play, it's like a second. If I play it, it's gonna go off.
But you can't freeze. You can't freeze.
I'm frozen on it right there.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Yeah. See?
Oh, damn, that is the same bottle.
Bam.
Dang, that's crazy.
Look, when your wife hunts demons, you got to be prepared for all things.
They actually sent me a kit with that, and in case I had to do an exorcism when when I got ordained to marry somebody, like just in case.
Did it boil the second you picked it up?
Yeah, it evaporated.
Wait a minute, I got ordained. They didn't send me holy water.
Well, wrong church.
Yeah.
Damn, fake ass ordination. Yeah. Look, I'm sorry, Mo. You're not actually married. I apologize, friend.
Yeah, look, it's just a formality anyway.
It's like, yeah. So look, have fun. do what you do before you get married again.
Another bachelor party.
And there it is. Let's go. Anyway,
to answer Tiger Claw's question,
what's his question?
If you guys could bring it up. He's asking, what is holy water made of? Is it fresh water? Is it filtered, purified, or distilled? Obviously, you want to purify it as much as possible, but really any water blessed by an actual a priest or monk would work.
Wait, why do you want purified then?
Because you don't want to splash dirty sewage water on people's faces.
Yeah, but that's a bunch of horseshit because everybody walks up to it and dips their finger in it on Sunday.
No, I don't. That's why I got my little bottle.
Yeah. But it's contaminated.
Wait, when you go into the church, you use your own bottle of holy water?
It was a pandemic, damn it.
Oh,
but the power of Christ is stronger than any virus, right?
Like Christ gave me a brain that says, hey, you know what? Maybe you should not stick your finger where everybody else is like sticking everything else.
Yeah. Gave you a brain to not think he's horseshit.
So back to Morbius.
Speaking of horseshit.
Okay. So I know for me, I was like from well, I won't say the beginning, because it starts off with like a scene in Costa Rica or whatever, but then after that it cuts to the whole childhood friends thing. And from that moment I was just like, oh,
I have a question.
I'm not gonna like this.
I have a question from that scene.
Yeah.
Because I assume that scene takes place kind of I thought we would get to that point somewhere in the middle of the movie, like when he realizes he can come up with this formula or whatever, because in that scene they attract bats and he's like standing in the center like Batman in Batman Begins with all these bats flying around him. But then when you actually watch the movie, it's not until he actually becomes the living vampire that he can do that. Like he even he's surprised that he can do that. He's like, oh, it's like they know me now. Like you weren't Morbius the first time you did it, where you like literally cut yourself and did all that. Like when does that take place? Is that when he captured the bats?
Yeah.
But then he could already do that. So why was he impressed that he could do that after he takes the formula?
Well, I think technically there are two different things happening, but you're right in the sense that you would think that he would have been a little bit more conscientious of all those bats surrounding him the first time, but I don't know. He needed to capture them, so I guess he was good. I don't know. And, you know, he definitely could do something different with them, like as far as like either like controlling, like directing where they go, or, I mean, listen, I tell you, I don't need any of the Morbius surrounded by bats thing at all. I could have done without that for the entire film, but I was really kind of like, dude, like, did this fool just do like a Kamehameha with bats? Like, I'm pretty sure that's what happened. And I'm like, I don't know how y'all felt about it, but I was kind of like, that's some bull. Like, even for a 90s superhero movie, that's some bull, right? Like, I'm just like, dude, like, I get that maybe he wasn't trying to, that wasn't what he was intending to do. Like, I could totally see Jared Leto, like, not even knowing what a Kamehameha is. But that's what he did inadvertently with bats to friggin' Matt Smith.
I mean, it's not as bad as the Cellophane S.
Is it not though? I think it is. I feel like the Cellophane S is not good, but at least it's like a power. You know what I'm saying? Like at least it's like something. Like at the end of the day, you could be like, I didn't see that coming. But I know that for me, when this fool was like revving up, I was like, is this fool about to do a bat Kamehameha? And I'm like, damn, this fool did a bat Kamehameha. I'm like, man, they should give me some money back.
This is how Sony's all fucked up, because they could have easily just done. Well, no, I guess they can't. Like, just do like a Legion of Monsters movie with Morbius and the world.
Post-credit scenes will mess you up. Like,
the thing about that,
I was normal, and then we got to the post credits, and now I'm angry.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
Any goodwill, like any good scene that I thought, okay, yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, yeah, I can see what they were going. All right, whatever, it's fine. You get to those end credits, and now we gotta fight. That's it.
I 100% was like, oh, I'm taking a point off. I'm taking a point off.
But to most point, they're scared to do a Legion of Monsters movie because of how poorly Dark Universe did.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like everybody that I talked to leading up to Morbius was like excited about Morbius without knowing anything about it, just because it's Marvel. So you're gonna get people to watch it, and then if you do it well, then you're gonna be golden. That's kind of how Venom went. People were even a little trepidation because it had nothing to do with Spider-Man, but they liked the first one. Then they got to make a second one and totally shit on it, like shit on whatever good stuff they had on the first one, because nobody liked that second one, But I think the Marvel thing is strong enough to really like get them on board, You would think the Dark Universe does it, but like the classic monsters universe on its own would be enough, and for me it is, but I guess it just wasn't for a lot of people. People are bored of those monsters, I think.
Hey, I was actually really I enjoyed The Mummy.
Yeah.
And I definitely wanted more.
Yeah.
But
yeah. And I got to do the maze, the Bride of Frankenstein maze, and it looks like it was the story of the movie they were gonna do at Halloween Horror Nights, and that story was awesome from what I saw at the maze. So
there it is.
Was that Rob Zombie?
I don't think that was I don't think it was Rob Zombie. But it had its own story, it had its own narrative, and but yeah, I mean, like, I'm mad that that Frankenstein Agents of Shade book didn't do good, because that was kind of that Dark Universe type thing with the Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, Swamp Monster, Werewolf, and it was good.
I legit think I'm scared of the Rob Zombie maze. Like, I heard about it.
Which one, the House of a Thousand Corpses, or?
I don't know which one it was specifically, but I know he said he kept trying to like get them to say no, and they wouldn't. Like, he was like, "Well, can I put? I want to put these footages of actual corpses," and they're like, "Yeah," and he was like he's like legitimately trying to get them to say no to one of his ideas, like being that outrageous, and they just wouldn't say no.
He's like, "I want to cut every sixth person." He's like, "What?" Okay,
so I was like, I'm out, because I know he's pretty disturbing. Like,
yeah, I don't know.
His indie films are actually pretty tame to like what's in his head,
and that's yeah. I can see you thinking that or feeling that, but the dude's he's a teddy bear.
No, like, I know. Like,
he just goes to the extreme, like,
yeah. Like, he's got that teddy bear side. Like, I would love to meet him in person. Like, I think he'd be a great guy to hang out with. But I don't want to, like,
when you tell him, "Hey, can you scare me?" and he's like, "Yeah, I'll do it."
Yeah, it's like when he wants to go dark, he goes dark.
Yeah.
And that's the part of him where I'm like, I'll just skip this maze. I'll go to like the Snoopy Land maze.
Jay, do you like those Halloween mazes and haunted houses and stuff?
Not really. Like, it's for me. It's about like personal space. If I'm in a space where like I feel someone could actually grab me, then I'm afraid.
Okay.
Like I could watch horror movies all day, like hay rides and other things where like they don't reach into the car. Like I could do those.
Yeah.
But once I feel like someone might actually like be close enough to like grab me, then I get nervous.
Yeah.
Okay.
So listen, I know we don't want to talk about it, but I'm gonna bring it back to Morbius. I'm gonna bring it back to Morbius because as we told the people, and I see Tiger Claw has some questions or a question at least. What's Tiger Claw talking about?
Tiger Claw says, question, since this is a comic book movie about Morbius, were any of the characters in the movie from the comics? Milo or Morbius's girlfriend, are they from the comics?
I know.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I've only encountered Morbius one memorable time and maybe a scant few others.
Mm-hmm.
And there was I don't think there was a Milo, but maybe there was. It was like...
Don't forget his name was Lucian.
There's one story with Morbius where he's trying to like do the right thing by only killing bad people. And he's got homeless people that are like rounding up the bad people for him.
Right.
And then Spider-Man's like, yeah, those aren't really bad people. And so Morbius goes to the homeless guys like, you're just getting bad people, right? And they're like, yeah. So like, he's like, so like upstanding people? And they're like, yeah. Like women and children? Yeah. Like just the bad people. And Morbius is like, fuck, these guys are dumb.
Yeah.
And then he kind of turns himself in and, turns everybody in.
Yeah. Yeah,
so
I will say that
guys might have been named Milo.
I will say that I know that I'm not a huge Morbius fan myself, but I've read a fair amount of Morbius just because I read a lot of Marvel comics.
Pops up.
Yeah, he does, and or he did, because Lord knows, like I know they probably put out a Morbius comic book recently or whatever, but like Morbius was definitely under the radar for a long, long time.
He didn't even show up in X-Men versus Vampires.
No, but I don't know that he should have, because Morbius is a living vampire. He's not like an actual vampire.
But
I'm sure he would want to stop vampires from killing people.
And that's the whole thing about Marvel Universe vampires is that you have your traditional vampires. You got Dracula in that universe, but then you also have your mutant vampires and Selene, as we're going to talk about a little later.
Right.
It was great to see her again. And then you have your mutant. Well, you have your mutant vampires, then you have your living vampires, and then you have your daywalkers. So there's room for all of it. Like even in X-Men versus Vampires, like they show the mutant and that original vampire coming along.
Right.
So he should have popped up on some level.
No. Yeah, no. But what I can say is I do know that the woman that plays his girlfriend is a character from the comics. And it seems like maybe they might be trying to do something along like her character arc in the movie, maybe. And I don't think the character, I don't know for a fact, but I don't believe that the character that Matt Smith played is a character from the comics. I don't think so. Like it might be based on like a character from the comics, but I don't think that there's an actual like Lucian or a Milo. I don't think. Which was a whole like weird little thing too, but but yeah, I mean, the more than anything, like, you know, I talked about how I felt like it felt like a 90s comic book movie, and one thing that happens in movies, comic book movies from back then, is it feels like everybody has to be like there has to be like some sort of connection between all of the players in these movies or whatever. And, you know, like the bad guy and the good guy, like either used to be friends or brothers, or, you know, or they have the same father, or like there's always like some sort of like connection where it's like, oh, it's personal.
Yeah.
You know, because like you very seldom just have like two dudes that don't know each other and they just meet for the first time on the battlefield, and then it's like, oh, maybe they have some sort of
even in the
thing from
Batman
that.
they did that. Like the Riddler, the whole thing with the Riddler was a personal thing with Batman, with Bruce Wayne at least.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's like, you know, he didn't even know how personal it was.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I'll give that, like it's, I'm not saying like it still technically falls in that category,
it's
but
just a little different.
Yeah, it's definitely done different in the sense that, you know, like he doesn't have any idea that connection is personal, but as opposed to like, you know, like literally it's a thing where they're like, oh, that used to be your friend and now he's your enemy. You know, it's like why? Like it doesn't have to, like out in the world, people sometimes just fight. They just clash. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's okay. Like, you know, like, you don't have to be don't have to know each other.
I didn't even know he lived across the street from me. And it's like technically it fell into that category, but I didn't know. Like it wasn't personal to me. Yeah.
Wait, some guy disliked you that lived across the street from you, but you didn't know he lived across the street?
Yeah.
That's funny.
And then he like started throwing stuff at me, and then throwing gang signs, and then I threatened to fuck his mother, and then, you know, then he ran off, and then yeah, he lived across the street from me.
Oh, there it is. Wow. So yeah, it's a weird thing. I don't understand.
In general, is just confusing. There's so many things I don't that happen that I don't understand.
Like what?
Well, and I mean, like we gave the spoiler warning already.
Yes.
So they imply that if he drinks red blood, he becomes like what Milo became.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, you know, he even talks about what it feels like to drink real blood.
Yeah.
If he drinks the blue blood, he stays himself, but it was losing its effectiveness. So towards the end, you know, he's got I got one shot for him, and then I got this other shot, and I'm gonna end this.
Mm-hmm.
And then the movie happens, and in the movie, he's driving a fancy car and you know, doing what he does. And I'm like, wait a minute, don't you have to be on red blood now? Like, aren't you becoming are you becoming what you just killed? Like, what made him decide to not do it after spending so much time telling the love of his life that he was going to do it? It just, like, little things like that don't make sense.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. How do y'all feel about the special effects?
I didn't like the echolocation effect, like with the ears. It was just uncomfortable to look at.
The effect itself, like the Daredevil type of thing, was fine, but yeah, you don't need to make the ears do the little wiggly thing that they were doing. Like you don't
I didn't like that.
Yeah, for those that are like, what are they talking about? Like, they basically have like inside the ridge of the ear, it kind of does like a ripply kind of thing where it just like, so you can know that. Like, honestly, I think what happens is what they're doing is they make the top part of the inside of Jared Leto's ear kind of mimic what a bat's ear looks like for a little bit. Like, it doesn't get pointy, but the inside, like, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think a bat's ear has like those little ridges.
So his ears didn't get pointy?
No, his ears get pointy when
he vaporizes or whatever.
When he becomes like Morbius,
the claws.
But there are times when he's just like kind of sitting there listening to the echolocation, and he's still like Jared Leto, but his ear kind of morphs a little bit. And it is a weird thing. I'll give you that. I will say that's another thing I had an issue with effects wise was all the switching back and forth from Morbius to, like
Vampire
Morbius to, Michael Morbius. Like, and it's not that I didn't have a problem with it happening, because that's how it goes in the comic, but it just felt, well, I mean, or I guess it depends on what part of the comic you're talking about, because there's a big part of the comic where he's just Morbius all the time. And that was part of like the affliction, right? Was like, he kind of had to like be in disguises and stuff because he couldn't just be out in the world. But okay, you wanted to let him be able to switch, fine. But my thing was like, it was weird because it would go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth a lot.
Yeah. And if it goes back and forth that much, he'd be okay with it. Like
I guess. I mean, I feel like the movie does a decent enough job.
Like, if Ben Grimm would like switch back and forth that much, he'd be fine with it. He wouldn't be mad at Reed Richards.
No, I'll give you that, but I guess the movie does a good job at the very least in the sense that the issue that he's having isn't what he looks like. The issue he's having is, I don't want to have to drink real people's blood because I need human blood. And he's like, the synthetic blood, the effects of that to satiate him are waning as he drinks more of it. So it's almost like putting him on a clock where it's like, okay, at a certain point, like Oz was mentioning, the synthetic blood's not going to work anymore, and then I'm going to need like human blood. But by the time I get to the end of the movie, apparently that problem has resolved itself somehow in a way that we are not aware of.
Yeah, the effects, it was back and forth for me. Like the I'll call it the boat scene where he first becomes Morbius, and the way he kind of like moves really quickly, and it's got that smoke effect.
Yeah,
I thought that looked pretty cool. Like,
I thought so too.
It's early enough in the movie that I was thinking, okay, all right, we're gonna have another Venom thing where it's gonna be decent. Is it better than I thought? But then you have scenes like, I'll call it the first flight in the subway.
Yeah,
where I'm like, nah, dude.
Yeah,
nah, you should have just done the smoke thing.
Yeah,
it would look better, way better.
Yeah,
I like purple.
I like purple. That's fair. That's fair.
It also bugged me that Jared Leto does not, like, he's the same person before the transformation as he is after. Like with Milo, you see the change in him, the confidence. It going from both of these guys have been essentially shunned by society for their physical disabilities all their lives, and now they're basically peak human. In Milo's case, he considers himself evolved above human. He's practically Magneto in this movie, and you see it. You see the change in him. Jared Leto plays the exact same person all the way through, just with more concerns because now there's a villain.
Now, I will say that I feel like that works only because I get what you're saying, and I think that makes sense. But keeping in mind that the dude is a world-renowned doctor, so he gets a certain amount of shine already. So maybe for him, it's like now I can walk too, so that's great. So I guess for him, he's like, yeah, I'm fine. And don't get me wrong though, it's like apparently like Milo is loaded, right? Like Milo comes from money or has a whole bunch of money, and
I think he makes his money like growing up, because he didn't have money. At least they don't show that when he goes into that hospital.
That's true.
He's just a normal dude in the hospital, and then as an adult now, like he probably helped fund some of Morpheus's original things, and that's probably where he gets his income actually.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like he definitely, like Morbius or Milo definitely helps Morbius, and like that's why he goes to him and is like, hey, I need you to help me get this cure to happen or whatever. But so yeah, I mean, I guess like I know that he has money and maybe he did make it himself. but he's not living like he doesn't have like a like he doesn't, or he's not renowned for anything necessarily. Ooh, I'm knocking stuff over. Sorry. No, but and I guess maybe that might be the difference. But you might be right, Oz, where it's just like, hey, I mean, dude, if you're filthy rich, and like people, you get paid, or you pay people to make sure that they cater to you and respect you, it's like, but maybe it's just a personality thing. Maybe Milo's like, F this world. I don't know. It's a weird thing. The whole thing is strange, and I know, like, I'm a big fan of Jared Leto as an actor. I'm a big fan of Matt Smith as an actor. I don't feel like either one of them were particularly great in this movie, and that's really disappointing. Where I'm just like, dude, like, these are people that I like watching do what they do, and I'm saying, like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I know, like, I didn't know who Matt Smith was before he became Doctor Who, but since then, I've seen him do a number of different things, and he's good. Like, I know he can act, and I was watching this fool. I'm like, man, like, this guy he's kind of terrible in this, and I don't know that it's him. Like, he might be doing the best thing he can with what he, with the script that he was given. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Like, Jay, what's the best part of Morbius for you?
Wait, real quick. I didn't recognize him, but now he was in Last Night in Soho. And
who's that?
He was Matt Smith.
Oh, yeah.
And he was actually really good in that.
No, dude, that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's not like the dude can't act. The dude is phenomenal. And Jared Leto is phenomenal too. Like, dude, Jared Leto is great. But not in this. I'm just sitting here like, I'm like, who reads this script and is like, yes. Like, who does that?
I think Jared Leto would have enough clout to read the script and say, maybe we should work on this a little bit more.
The thing is, he probably thinks it's beneath him. It's a comic book movie. They're gonna cut out his scenes. Like, they're it's a big studio thing. It's like, yeah, just fucking pay me so I can get my next Academy Award with the movie I do after this, that I don't have to get paid for.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know anything about Jared Leto personally. I know that he has an Academy Award.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like those movies he makes no money on. He has to do,
okay.
Doing the big movies lets him use do the real good ones for free.
But I'm like, Jared Leto could have been like a really spectacular villain in the MCU. Like, say, like, but here's the thing. I'm assuming if, like, Sony's probably banking on this to be some sort of franchise, right? So Leto is probably, they're probably hoping that he'll do multiple movies. I don't know that if he's contracted or anything like that. And maybe that's what's keeping him from doing a Marvel movie. Maybe he's like, oh, I don't want to be contracted. But that's the whole reason why I brought up the villain. It's like, generally speaking, when you talk about Marvel movie, you can be a villain in like one thing and that's it. Maybe you do a second and that's it. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, he could have, like, it's not like Jared Leto doesn't have enough clout to wait for the right superhero role.
Yeah, it depends on what they wanted him in too. Like, who wanted him? Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine that the folks over at Marvel Studios wouldn't be like, oh, if we can get Jared Leto, let's do something with him. But maybe I'm wrong.
Jared Leto's Ultron.
Jared Leto would have probably been a pretty cool Ultron too. I don't know. What's Tiger Claw talking about?
Tiger Claw says, I think Sony is setting up a Sinister Six movie and Morbius will be a part of it.
That's what the post-credit implied.
Is that what it was? I was just going to ask, like, because you guys brought up the post-credit and didn't tell me anything about it. So
that's because it's so amazing you have to watch it.
No, just tell me
what the anger that I felt.
Just tell me what. I'm not gonna feel angry. I already got my good Morbius story.
So there's 2 post-credit scenes.
Yeah. Again, spoilers. So if you don't want to know what the post-credit scenes are, now's the time to tune out. But spoilers. Here you go. Go ahead.
Yeah, the first one is a camera shot of an empty cell, and then some sparkly Star Trek transporter stuff happens, and in pops in Michael Keaton, who looks around, realizes he's in another dimension or universe, and is sitting there going, well, I hope the food's better in this universe. Yeah. And then there's a news report about how this guy Toombs just appeared in prison. Nobody knows anything about him. He ain't got no ID, but he doesn't belong there because they don't know who he is, so he's gonna get out. Second post-credit scene is Morbius drives up to a random spot in the desert somewhere, and then you see the Vulture, Michael Keaton's Vulture, come up, land, takes off his helmet, and ask him, hey, you want to like make a team or something, or have some fun, or something that's sounded more clever in the writing room than it did in real life,
right?
And Jared Leto is just kind of like, yeah.
So is there anything in this movie that would make you think he would want to be a villain?
The only thing is that once the synthetic blood wears off, supposedly the red blood is what makes him more aggressive, more predator.
That's true.
And so that was my assumption, is at that point he gave up the thought of killing himself, and the synthetic stuff's not working anymore, so he's probably getting that predatory sense. And they lead you to believe that this takes place in the Venomverse, because they do still keep that scene where he mentions Venom, but the scene where he's walking by the Spider-Man thing was taken out.
Okay. Tiger Law says Vulture says to Morbius, want to do something good. Is that what he said?
I don't remember.
I don't think so. I don't think
all I heard was my pounding heart in my ears.
Because I think that's what Jared Leto's agent told him, and he said no, and then he gave him Morbius the script.
I would go ahead and give this to Tiger Claw. He was probably paying way more attention to the movie than us at this point.
I guess. I don't know, man. It's just one of those things where it's like, it's unfortunate that the MCU very well may have lost the ability to use Vulture for this. Yeah. and then also too, like, we know that, okay, like, Sony's been trying to set up a friggin' Sinister Six joint for years now, and it's like, it's just one of these things where it's like, I'm not saying don't make a Sinister Six movie, even though I kind of am saying don't make a Sinister Six movie, especially if Spider-Man's not in it. But who knows? They might do, like, I know that people are talking, like, there are rumors that they might be trying to set up a Sinister Six movie and have Andrew Garfield Spider-Man be like the Spider-Man in the Sinister Six movie.
Nah, it's gonna be Venom
as like the person that they're fighting against.
Yeah, Venom's gonna be the hero.
That's crazy.
It's not a rumor.
It's such a terrible idea. Like, the idea of Venom as the main hero against the Sinister Six
is a lethal protector against the
No, it's the worst idea ever. Like, come on, man. Listen, I'd rather watch friggin' BVS 2 than Venom versus the Sinister Six in the Sonyverse. Like, nah, like, they're both going to be garbage, but at least, like, I feel like there's going to be some sort of, like, high pretense type of moral from the BVS 2.
Here's what you're forgetting. We're in the universe that Morbius and Vulture and Venom exist together. There is no Spider-Man. There's no Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield. There's no Spider-Man, because that's why they didn't know who the hell Spider-Man was when he showed up on TV.
But didn't they show Oscorp in the trailer?
They may have. That doesn't mean
they showed a lot of things in the trailer. Yeah,
but they didn't show it in the movie.
I mean,
Awesome.
they showed the Vulture, but there's no, Spider-Man still.
Like the Vulture name dropped Spider-Man.
Right, because he knows him from the previous universe, but he's not in this universe. He's not. It's gonna be.
I'm just saying, like,
be
up
Venom.
until
He's gonna be like, oh,
this
Spider-Man, you're black now.
Up until this, well, listen, that would be a better way to go, which would suck because it would be Miles Morales in a bargain basement.
No. I mean, because Venom is black.
Real quick.
Look, it's not no Miles Morales. What the hell? There's no Spider-Man in this universe.
Listen, what I'm saying to you, look, before this movie, there was no friggin' Vulture in that universe either.
I mean, after this movie, there's still no Spider-Man, but there is Vulture.
Go ahead, Jay.
Tiger Claw was right. He says want to do something good.
What does that even mean?
Well, obviously they're not going to. It's an after credit scene. It's not going to be a plot. He's not going to ask him a plot synopsis of what the next project is. It's like,
so that means like the next movie's gonna be good. Sorry, Jay. I don't mean to put that on you because you didn't make this movie.
I'm put like Jay wrote the post credit scene. Everyone knows that about Jay.
dude, if I had written the post credit scene, it would have been so much better. Dude,
it would have been Morbius going, "Who the fuck is Milo?"
Honestly,
it would have been Silver Sable busting in.
No, Jack Terrier.
Good night, folks. Thanks for watching.
That's a 5 out of 5.
Jack Terrier.
That would have saved the movie.
Dude, I want it so bad. Like, it just makes sense. Like,
yeah,
Morbius, Werewolf by Night.
Yeah,
it's like
that. Look, yeah, that's some bullshit. Now I'm even mad. I didn't see this movie.
I want to see the sequel with the girlfriend. I don't want Jared Leto anymore. I want the girlfriend. She's a vampire.
The girlfriend is gonna be the villain for the next one.
You're already planning the next one?
No, I'm not planning the next one. I'm talking about Sony's garbage plans.
Yeah.
Where they're like,
she got the raccoon eyes, like she just got out the club.
And it's one of these things where it's just like, dude, like, I mean, look, people are obviously watching the joint to a degree, right? So I'm just like,
nah, it's only 39 million. Like, that's nothing.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's not like a whole bunch of money. Like, it's not Spider-Man money, sure.
It's not the Batman money.
But
it's not Belfast money.
No, but what is Belfast?
That's the movie that didn't win the Best Picture.
Does Twitch not have a thing for blocking people?
Probably not.
It might. I don't know.
You
might have to go to Twitch itself.
Yeah.
We're not going. Well, I'm not going to Twitch. I don't know our Twitch stuff. Sorry, Tiger Claw and everyone else. We got spams.
Oh. But yeah, I'm just saying, like, damn it, I forgot what I was saying.
I'm sorry, that was my fault. I didn't mean to derail.
Sony's planning the next movie. Is that what you said?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, like, I don't think that it didn't make so little money that they're gonna call it a failure. I don't think.
We'll see. I mean, we'll see how much it makes after the second week. 39 million. It didn't cost 39 million to make. It cost more than that.
But okay. I mean,
and it cost
39 million is domestic, right?
Right, but like you said in your little video, you don't know if it's even coming to China at all.
Yeah, but I guess what I'm saying is, if it made
total worldwide is 88, almost 89.
Yeah, so
that's pitiful.
I don't know how much. I need to look up how much.
Like, I know that the budget isn't that big. Like, if it made 89 before the second weekend, that probably means it's going to make its money back.
75 million.
Well, there you go. It already made. That was the budget?
Yeah.
Wow. So, well, there you go. So that fool, it already made his money back. So, you know, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not like that. 75 million is probably just the movie though, not the promotional budget.
The distribution too.
I mean, listen,
the movie's got to make 3 times what it costs to make in order for it to be a success.
I mean, I think it's 2 times, but I'll give it to you where it's like, but either way, it's on track to make enough money to make it profitable. Because it's not it's like we're talking about it hasn't been out 2 weeks.
Right, but by the next weekend, nobody's going to care about it.
Yeah, Sonic comes out this weekend.
Yeah, that's just going to murder it.
I can't believe I said that, but
true. But that it's going to murder it. It's like, and then after that, everybody's already like, they're like, oh, I guess I'll watch Morbius. It'll hold me over for Doctor Strange. You know, Doctor Strange is right around the corner. That thing's gonna tickets. The thing is, Doctor Strange tickets go on sale on tomorrow. On the 6th. So those tickets.
Today's the 6th.
Okay, so they probably went on sale or it's going on sale tomorrow morning.
There you go.
So that's going to take all the box office money for the next month.
Oz, you should fly to LA so you can watch Doctor Strange with us.
We're having a screening for Doctor Strange for my birthday.
In the middle of that circle jerk.
Woo.
Yeah, you do.
Oh, that's on
Cinco de Mayo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Nah, I got things to do.
Damn.
Thursday's your day off.
Actually, Wednesday's in May. But for the show, you're welcome.
Thanks, Oz.
We're actually switching the days.
Oh, jeez. Okay. Listen, let's just rate this movie and be done with talking about it because I'm done with it. Jay, what do you rate Morbius?
I give it a 3. Like, I enjoyed it a little bit. Like, it wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be.
That's fair.
The trailer made it sound like the character didn't know what echolocation was, but in the movie he does. So that was like a huge bonus for me. And realistically, I like this movie way more than Venom 2.
Hey, I'm right there with you on that. You're right. I did like it more than Venom. I thought about that in the theater where I'm like, I'm not enjoying this, but it's not Let There Be Carnage because Let There Be Carnage was terrible. Like, oh my God, so bad. I was so angry. Oh, I'm sorry. So your rating is 3?
3. Yeah,
3.
Middle of the road. Predictable, tropey, but not necessarily a bad time.
Yeah. In the 90s, this would have been amazing. Mo,
I hate that ear thing.
Yeah. Mo, I'm sorry. I know you didn't see it, but you want to give it a rating anyway in true Mo's Magnum fashion?
Yeah. Look, it's terrible. The greatest story for Morbius has already been told, and it was called Frankencastle when he brought back the Punisher and to help that underground city with the help of also Bloodstone and fight that threat and turned him into the Frankencastle. Amazing monster story. Dark. You missed that Universal dark monster universe. Look, Marvel got you covered with Legion of Monsters. Dennis Hopeless fucking knocked that shit out of the fucking park.
There you go.
And Tony Moore, because he drew it.
Oz, what would you rate Morbius?
I'm gonna go down to 2. I agree with a lot of what you said, where it felt like a movie from the 90s, but like straight to VHS movie from the 90s, and I enjoyed those movies in the 90s. I still enjoy them now, but it's not the 90s anymore.
No, it's not.
And you're Sony. You have the money.
Yeah.
I assume there's some talent because they've made some good Spider-Man related movies.
Yeah.
Granted, they don't have a great track record with that, but you know, it's just no, it's all over the place. I don't remember if they did extensive reshoots, but it feels disjointed in some places just because of like some of the stuff I mentioned earlier, where stuff happens that is forgotten about or doesn't make sense. And I feel like those were either reshoots or just bad editing. I don't know what's going on in this movie, and that's the biggest problem. And when I was gonna give it a 3, but yeah, those post-credit scenes like just angered me.
Yeah.
Because I like the Vulture in the Marvel universe, and now Sony has him, and it's just no, just give
BS.
Just give Disney the properties, take your 10%, 20%, whatever deal you worked out, just they'll make you the money.
Right.
Just stop, Sony. Just stop. Just do the games.
Just do the games. There it is. There it is. I'm also going to give it a 2 because I agree 100%. Like in the 90s, like if I had screened this joint at the Shrine Auditorium at a comic book convention, I would have been like over the moon. Like, wow, they made a cool ass Morbius movie. But in this day and age, in the 2020s, man, it's like, nah, man, comic book movies are better than this. And I don't know why other studios don't understand that. Like, I'm not saying every studio's making movies in the 90s because they're not. There are other studios that have at least reached the 2000s or the 2010s or whatever. But I'm just saying that we know that when you get people that understand what makes the comics good to write the movies, they can be amazing. And like feel like they're like the essence of those characters are being pulled from the page and onto the screen. And this doesn't feel like that. The look looks good. That's the thing that I can say. Like if you're talking positives, it's like, dude, Jared Leto's Morbius looks like Morbius. And even like Oz mentioned, the smoke effect type stuff, that stuff was cool. Like, cool enough where I'm like I could see Morbius moving like that. Like, I don't know what Morbius actually moves like because all I've done is read comics. Right? But I could see that. Like from an effects standpoint, it worked and I'm like, cool. But, all the switching back and forth and the tropey type of stuff from 90s comic book movies, time out for all that. I'm gonna give it a 2, unless I gave Let There Be Carnage a 2. Then I gotta give it like 2.5 or 2 2/4 or whatever. Like it should definitely be more than Let There Be Carnage. Either way. All right. You ready to talk about some comics? Woo.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay. Yeah, Doctor Strange tickets did go on sale, and I'm trying to find places where.
We're sold out already. We got to go the following week.
We got to buy them like in the next hour or so.
Right.
We're gonna end right tight 2.
Tight 2. I blame Oz. Oz knew. He didn't tell us. See, I take a silence as
consent. Are you expecting something?
Comic book review.
Comic book like review. Well, not like that, but like.
All right. So today we're going to talk about Immortal X-Men #1. Immortal X-Men is basically the first comic book coming out in the next iteration of for the X-Men, the Destiny of X, which, ever since the Johnathon Hickman relaunch with House of X and Powers of 10, there's been a lot of little nuggets dropped around or whatnot. And Hickman, of course, as some of you may know, he is not currently writing any more X-Men stuff. He's still doing stuff for Marvel, but kind of left his plans and left the X-Men in the hands of the creators, since his departure, and this is one of the books that is beginning to kind of deliver on some of those, or some of those ideas, is basically the best way to say it. Written by Kieron Gillen. Is it? I don't remember if it's Dowderman doing the art. Hold on, I gotta look real quick. But I know it's written by Kieron Gillen. The art is Wernick. Wernick does the art. Apologies there. Colors by David Curiel, and Clayton Cowles does the letter. Tom Muller does the design. So Immortal X-Men #1. This book is the book that is basically features Krakoa's Quiet Council, which is the ruling council of Krakoa. It has 12 members on it, different mutants that we'll talk about as the review goes. Let's all talk about Immortal X-Men #1. Oz, can I start with you, buddy? What did you think of Immortal X-Men #1?
You know, I'm waiting for you to recommend that we review War and Peace.
Wait, what?
At the rate that we're going, come on. I couldn't finish it. And if you read the production text, then you know, like, the exact moment I gave up.
I was reading the production text. What moment did you give up?
When I realized that Hickman turned Jesus into a mutant.
Oh, I did see you ask that question.
And look, I used to read Battle Pope. I can get past that. But at that point, I was really looking for an off-ramp. Like, it's the Phantom Menace trade negotiations, like in comic book form. And I tried to stick with it, because when it starts off there, it's kind of like what do we call him? Essex? Sinister? What?
That Mr. Sinister.
Mr. Sinister. Yeah. Look, he's Nate E to me. But
he's so what?
Nate E. Nathaniel F.
Oh, got you. Okay.
Yeah. Natey boy. That's what we call him in the hood.
Is that right? Okay.
Him and Easy are brothers. Anyway, yeah, so it's him, and like his wall of text is kind of telling you how each person feels about the current situation in Krakoa, each person on this council, other people. So I saw it, I thought, okay, this is, I haven't read X-Men in a while, so this is kind of a good catch up. All right, I can do a page or two of this and find out kind of what's going on, and then we can get on to the action. And no, it's just more debate and arguing about who's gonna take Magneto's place on this ruling council. And it just goes on and on and on. And no, I couldn't do it.
That's fair.
And like I said, once we got to that point, I was looking for the off ramp. So any excuse for me to just kind of put that down, I was ready for. I still looked up ahead and saw more pages of text. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't.
That's fair. Jay, how about you, man? What did you think of Immortal X-Men #1?
Oh, I really liked it.
Okay.
I thought it was interesting. The art was a little off to me. Like, it's got that stylized, cartoony look. I'm trying to remember who else uses that style a lot. I think Amanda Connor.
Stylized, cartoony look. Okay.
Yeah. And it makes, like, there's some panels where Sinister is smiling and it just like balloons, and it's like, that's a little off. Feels a little off. But story wise, I enjoyed it. I like seeing Hope. She's so casual in her threat. Like, it was pretty awesome. I like Celine. Like, I haven't seen her in forever.
Right.
And she makes some really good points. Like, you guys are trying to bring people back. Like, she brought back a whole island, like, as zombies, but still.
Right.
And on a special note, I actually there's actually one panel in the book that I really love, and it's where she like basically starts to enact her revenge, and it's just really good. Like, of course, because Comixology sucks now, it's hard for me to show it. But if I go to our Discord, you can see a teeny tiny version of the picture.
Well, share that teeny tiny version. Oh yeah, that is a good panel.
It's like, I like the colors and the monster, and
you didn't get to that part, right?
Perspective.
No.
Yeah.
Wait, I have to see the picture.
Oh, that picture. It's tiny, but you don't.
Yeah, sorry about that. I still don't have the Comixology app on my laptop because you have to get it from a different store than the Microsoft store. And
I'm guessing that's like the last page or something.
No, it's not actually.
No,
I saw some lady with a standing on a pentagram. Because I just kind of like scanned through the rest of the page. I wasn't even paying attention at that point.
Yeah, no.
It's like the middle-ish. Because there's still a bunch of stuff that happens up after this, a bunch of talking.
Right.
But I don't know. I found it interesting, partly for the primer. Like, unfortunately, I've been really behind on my X-Men. So it was good to, like, come into this. And there's actually a lot of interesting information. Like the whole Immortal thing, that took me for a loop. Not gonna lie.
When you say the Immortal thing, you're talking about the
mutants are immortal.
Oh yeah, but you knew that.
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
You know, the 5. We talked about the 5.
And
we know they could bring people back. Like from the dead, but that's not the same as being immortal, is it? Is that what he's talking about?
Yeah, that's what they're talking about.
Oh, I assume they just meant they were like live forever.
Nah, they're just talking about they can bring him back from the dead.
Okay, that I knew.
They bring him back and then
because I know Sinister is
the latest memories, right? So that's kind of like immortality at that point.
But I mean, Sinister's been around since Victorian era.
Right.
And,
I do have a question about that because was Raven around back then?
No.
Yeah.
No, that's just Victorian era.
They showed her in it.
I mean, besides in this book is the point. Like,
I'm sorry. Wait, I'm sorry. That is the 1700s when they show them, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I don't know. I thought that was like a different universe or something because Sinister gets killed. Raven shows up. I'm like, okay. I don't know what this has to do with the 2020s, but sure. All right, it starts.
Well, that I will say this, that I do feel as though this might be the first time they're pushing Destiny and Mystique that far back. But they have pushed them far back before, because I do remember Mystique like being in like by pretending to be some sort of queen or something somewhere. I can't remember where, but I felt like that might have been like the 1800s or something like that.
I know she was in the Wild West, which was actually pretty funny.
Yeah, so they're both pretty old, and Sinister has definitely like his origin has established him firmly. Like he was a contemporary of Darwin, so that firmly establishes him in the Victorian era, and he's survived through clones and stuff like that. But like it's interesting because mutants, like you have like Sinister, who basically makes himself a mutant, and then you have like people like Apocalypse and like Selene, which are externals, which are mutants that are like gifted with immortality, like almost like a secondary mutation before that was a thing. And then you also have well, there are other people that do have just like longevity. I mean, like Wolverine is not technically an external, but obviously like Wolverine's been around like since the 1700s himself, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. I don't remember if it was 17 or they made it early 1800s, but either way, it's a long time, and that fool's not going anywhere because he's Wolverine, right? So yeah.
When Joe talked about the immortality, like he was lost with 5 and all that stuff, like that's something I didn't experience in reading this book. Like reading this book, almost everything you've had us review for the last 2 years of X-Men has led to this book. Like everything they reference, like in asterisks or in conversation, this book does a really good job of doing it in conversation. So if you did happen to read it, and it happened to be like even in the little back matter, like prose stuff, they reference stuff that we reviewed in our other, like almost every, if you go back on our YouTube list for our X-Men reviews, all those books are reviewed up to here. Like I felt like, I didn't read the House of X and Powers of 10 like that. We read as much as we could. I read as much as I could and as much as I could understand because I'm a fucking dummy. And because that shit's, it's like when I said like War and Peace earlier, it's like, yeah, this book feels like that, but this book feels more accessible to me than any of those early books in this Destiny of X type or Powers of 10 type universe. And yeah, this one I felt like did a really good job of like everything I happened to have read, and reading this made it closed a loop, and then I can wait another 6 months and read something else.
Right, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah. No, I will say,
bad for not reading a lot of it though, because this one does a good job of making it feel like I'm reading some of the similar stuff that I read before, but from a different perspective. Like when we talked about the externals before and the gate and all that. Yeah. And then you're seeing it from those perspectives. And then when you talk about the like even the Doug Ramsey thing, like that happened in another book we read. And there's the Abigail Brand stuff. Yeah. And the Emma Frost stuff like happened. So it's almost like the same stuff still going on, just from a different perspective. Like not a lot, even though a lot of time passed by, not a lot happened. Like the story is still there and accessible to the reader.
Yeah, and there's definitely like since the last book, like because I feel like the last X-Men book we reviewed, if I'm not mistaken, might have been like the first issue of Inferno, maybe. I might be wrong about that, but I think it was the first issue of Inferno. And Inferno actually ended up like there were some significant things that ended up happening at the end of Inferno. But the stories move forward to a degree, but not necessarily so much so that like it would feel unfamiliar. And it's one of these things where I know from obviously if you've watched the show, you know how big of an X-Men fan I am. So I've been reading all this X-Men stuff, and when Jonathan Hickman was like, hey, okay, people want to stay in this era of X-Men, I'm gonna tell my story here and there. Oh, good job, Jay, getting a better picture of that.
Yeah, got a little bigger.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That was a great moment.
Yeah, it's a cool moment, and it's a great picture.
It to be continued right there.
That's what Oz was saying. Like Oz said, that looks like the last page of the book, but it keeps going. Right?
I was like happy, but I was mad that it kept going because I gotta go get food. I'm hungry.
Right. But the thing is, it's like, I feel like, people were kind of like, if Hickman's not gonna be writing this stuff, does the X office have the talent to kind of fill in what would be missing from his style of storytelling? And there was a lot writing, I think, on this particular book, because Immortal X-Men is like the first book in this next era of X-Men, the Destiny of X. And I feel like it delivered, because I feel like it definitely touched on a lot of the story points that Johnathon Hickman had like kind of laid out. And I feel like, not only that, but I think that Kieron Gillen's writing feels like it's invoking that stuff, but like you said, in a different way. Like, it doesn't do it like Hickman. And honestly, the fact is, it might do it in a more accessible way, because while I don't disagree with what Oz was saying in the sense that it's a lot of text, it's like, this is not an action book, but it wasn't marketed as the action book. This is supposed to be kind of like Immortal X-Men is the Quiet Council political intrigue book. And they still give you some action at the end, but it is more about people having conversations and making policy. It like Oz likened it to the trade negotiations from episode 1 of Star Wars. And it's like, I can totally see that, and I feel like that's more than a fair criticism. It just so happens, I happen to be totally interested in that from the X-Men perspective.
It wasn't like dull. Like when you
I don't think it was dull either, especially from the perspective of Mr. Sinister, which is a character that Kieron Gillen kind of like, he's the one that injected that that new kind of vibe into Mr. Sinister that made him like flamboyant and like this like performance kind of artist in a way. Yeah. And so, it's like him almost coming home to being able to do a book where he can tell a whole story from Mr. Sinister's perspective, and it include all these other people in it. So, I loved it, man. But I knew that, I don't think anybody here was like, oh, what is Mary Young going to think about the first issue of Immortal X-Men? Like, I don't think anybody here was thinking that I was going to be like, oh, it's garbage. I've read other X-Men books not that long ago where I'm like, I didn't like the first issue, but this is
a question I had for you, Larry, was like, what if when they do decide to bring X-Men into the MCU? I don't want to bring up movies. We're talking about comics here, but it did come to my brain as I was reading this. Like, what if they're already established, everything all went down, and they're already on Krakoa? Like, they've just been hiding and separated, and they have to deal with them from this dynamic instead of what we're used to in the movies.
Yeah. I mean, it's a possibility, and like I can't knock it if that's how they choose to do it necessarily. At the same time,
they could always retroactively, like, when they give you like Shield archives from the past, or with the Freedom of Information and Act, and you can find stuff about them, like treat them like UFO landings and shit.
Yeah, I mean, they could do that. That's a possibility.
Well, that's what they did with Ant-Man too. Like, they just put him. They had scenes with him and Shield that Shield never referenced in anything else. But Hank Pym was working with Shield back in the day. In between the stuff we saw with Peggy Carter and the stuff we see now.
Right.
Even Marvel was done that way. Yeah.
I mean, you could do that, and I don't know what the right answer is. Like, honestly, I really don't. Like,
what would you like? I guess was the question.
It's hard to say, just because it's like, like, because as an X-Men fan, what I would like to see is like these stories told from the beginning. Like I would love to see an actual X-Men First Class. Like that's not, some random hodgepodge of mutants put together, but like the actual first class of mutants. And I would love to see that, but at the same time, it's like if the mutants are going to connect to the greater Marvel Cinematic Universe, I can understand why you're like, hey, maybe we don't want to start there. And I can't even be mad at that. Like, but at the same time, it's like, I guess what I'm saying is I don't know what I want, and I'm hoping that Marvel has some good ideas to make me be able to say this was good. And this like honestly, if there's any place where I would doubt them, this is the place, because it's hard to incorporate mutants at this point. Like it feels like it's after the fact. And so it's just like I don't know how they're going to do it.
Have a next Eternals with the mutants.
Right. And it's like one of those things where it's like it could go good, but it might not, and that's okay too. I guess, or maybe not okay, but it's like I'm prepared for that to be the MCU's stumble. So we'll see, and I wish I could say that. Like the fact that myself as a fan, where I'm like, oh, well, obviously the way to do it is this. If I don't know what that answer is, I'm not 100% convinced that Marvel Studios does, and they're going to come up with something, and hopefully it'll be good, but we'll see. I don't want to spoil the end of this book, because if for people that, we might have one or two X-Men fans that maybe haven't read it yet, but the end of this
issue 5
of Immortal X-Men?
Yeah.
No, Immortal X-Men came out last week.
Yeah, like he told you about it last week. He explained it wrong because he didn't tell you that Jesus was a mutant.
Well, I know he told me about it last week, but at the same time, I've been seeing like covers for like
just preview covers. Yeah, the issue didn't come out till like literally like a week ago. It came out. So it's only number 1 is out. And so I don't want to spoil it for those that very well may have been reading books beforehand, but the ending of this book is a game changer. Like if you're reading X-Men, it's like just like, dude, like what? And it's crazy because Mr. Sinister has been talking about all of these like random plans that he's had like throughout, whether you're talking like, I mean, it starts in House of X and Powers of 10, but it's been happening throughout all these X books where Mr. Sinister seems as though he has like a little bit of something going on more than we know. And even with the thing, like this book has Sinister Secrets, which is something that happens that's happened in House and Powers or whatnot for the X-Men. And you're kind of like, like throughout that time, we're all been like, how would Mr. Sinister know all this stuff? You know what I'm saying? Like, like how would he know? And like because it seems like he's talking about things that he shouldn't be privy to. So I was like, how would he know that? And this book answers that question. Like, this is how he knows. And it's just like crazy, man. It's a game changer, and I love it. And I'm just like, dude, like, yeah, I can't wait.
I actually, I'm getting back, and it's like this book made me realize, okay, this is the point. Because I always wanted to read the Powers of 10 and all those, but they were coming out once a week, know, and it's a lot, and so after reading this one, I'm like, okay, this is my point. I'm gonna read everything up to this point, and I'm gonna do it.
Okay, I mean, hey, you feel more than free.
I don't know when I'm gonna get to it because I'm still doing the same thing with Star Trek, and
there it is.
Now Superior Spider-Man,
right?
And
right.
But I'll get there. It'll be my Thursday reading binge.
Got it.
My X day, Thursday for X. I'm gonna spell Thursday with an X. I don't know where the X is gonna go, but it's gonna be in there.
So Oz, Jesus being a mutant offended you. I'm not mad at that. I understand. But
yeah, it's look at that point.
Now you know how the Egyptians fell.
At that point, I'm sitting there going, "Give me a reason. Just give me a reason. Just you gave me a reason. Oh, great."
And this is a limited series?
No, it's ongoing.
Ugh.
It's just book 404.
What do you mean, Joe? Immortal X-Men?
Yeah.
What? But this is issue number 1. So how's this?
4? And then part 2 of 4 comes out in
I thought it was
May.
an ongoing series. It's supposed to be a limited series?
Apparently there are 4 parts.
Sounds like it's done.
So it says 1 of 4?
Yeah. Then book 2 of 4 comes out May 4th, 3 of 4 May 25th, and 4 of 4 June 29.
Oh, well, look. That's unfortunate if it's only 4 issues, but hey, I'll take those 4. I will take it.
And I guess that's why they have all the covers ready. Because I guess the book is pretty much
Did they
done.
have any white covers?
I didn't see any white covers, no.
Fucking up.
Actually, the interesting thing is they showed the covers for 3 and 4, but not 2. 2 hasn't been released yet.
Might be a spoiler. I could see that. I could see it. But anyway, so what did you think of the art, though, Oz?
It was fine. It's I don't know. Is it the same person that did House of X and all that stuff? Because it's that.
No.
No, this is beautiful.
Oh no! House and Powers is good.
No,
too.
they're good, but this art in particular on this book is fucking.
Oh, you like it better?
It's amazing.
No, okay, well that's fair.
They draw the same panel over and over, but tweak it so that it feels like you're watching something in motion. And
yeah,
it's amazing.
It's a Lucas Wernick.
Yeah, Lucas Wernick should be president.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, some kind of accolade. Beyond transcends his industry.
Yeah. Another thing that I liked about this book too, which and I didn't realize, and that might be because, maybe I just wasn't paying attention, but, this book starts the book is basically about the Quiet Council, and the story is Magneto gives up his seat. And decides he's going to retire to Arakko, which Arakko is what the mutants call Mars now, because the mutants terraformed Mars and made it like the capital of the Sol system. So all the intergalactic empires inside of the Marvel universe recognize planet Arakko, which is a mutant planet with, formerly Mars, as the capital of our solar system. And Storm is the regent of the Sol system now. So basically like the person that liaises with all of the intergalactic people. So with Magneto giving up his seat and saying, I'm going to retire to Arakko, that got me excited because I didn't realize that was what was going to happen. Well, I knew he was going to give up his seat, but I didn't know he was going to go to Arakko. And that makes me realize, Magneto is going to be in X-Men Red, which is the book that is about the mutants that are on Mars. And so I'm like, oh man, Magneto's going to be in that book. That's going to be awesome. because it was already going to be an awesome book with Storm dealing with the Iraqi because they're interesting and new. But if Magneto's going to be there too, I'm like, oh man, it's going to be cool. So
Really,
we're gonna have to read
X-Men Red.
we're gonna have to read the Magneto and Iraq book.
Iraqi.
not Iraq.
I like call it Arakai because that sounds better than Iraqi.
Which Iraqi? 1, 2, 3.
Oh, son of a celibate.
Well,
Wait, real quick.
It's 4 in the fourth one.
As a real quick aside, I've been watching Human Resources, which is the animated show on Netflix.
Oh, I thought it was the required training we sent you to. After
It's like, I know. I told Herbert, like, hey, you got to get him in check because he's
Herbert from HR, right?
Yeah, Herbert Rothstein.
But I know that, like, Jay, we were having a conversation about Human Resources, which I don't know. Have you watched more than the first couple episodes?
Yeah, I finished it.
Oh, you did finish it?
Yeah,
it got better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it got better. It got better. And
how was the episodes of Vox Machina you said you were gonna watch?
Oh, come on now. Listen, I do need to watch more episodes of Vox Machina, but I have watched more since the last time we had the conversation. But I haven't finished that yet. But at the same time, I haven't watched Human Resources yet either. Also, too, like in my defense, I like you got to blame Jay and Xenocore because I've been watching Jobless Reincarnation, and that joint's awesome too. I'm like, oh Jesus Christ!
Did you watch the OVA?
Huh?
Never mind.
Wait, the Jobless Reincarnation OVA?
Yeah, that's the stuff we were supposed to review that day. Like you said, I haven't watched that.
But wait, does the OVA come before or after the episodes?
I don't know. I didn't watch it. You didn't tell me it was on Hulu.
I did tell you it was on Hulu.
After the review, but not.
Well, this is all after the review. That's called the present, Mo. Listen, the funny part was, remember I was telling you, like, oh yeah, they got like 24 episodes, but it turned out it was like, I guess, like 2 seasons put together. But what I will tell you is
that is the funny part. Ha 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 ha.
Is they had it subtitled for the second part of what was called the season, but not dubbed. But the dub part released earlier this week.
Great.
And so if you want to watch the dub, you can do that. So anyway, but all this to say, or to come back to X-Men. Jay, you had an issue with X-Men Red. You don't like that title?
It's a little on the nose, right?
Well, here's the thing. Ironically enough, X-Men Red is a reused title because, there was a point where you had X-Men Gold and you had X-Men Blue, right? You remember that? Mm-hmm. Right, because, you had blue and gold teams back in the day. Now, keep in mind that X-Men Gold and X-Men Blue weren't necessarily about the blue and gold teams. It was the name of X-Men books after the fact, but playing on that still. Then when at the same time you had X-Men Gold team and X-Men Blue team or whatever, or the comics that were like these X-Men are the X-Men Gold people and these X-Men Blue, Jean Grey started her own team of X-Men. And that team of X-Men, or the book, was called X-Men Red. And so that was a book that existed on its own for a short amount of time, and they're just repurposing the title now because it's on Mars.
Can we go back to TV real quick? Have you watched the first episode of From?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Yeah. Look, you're not going to tell us where that reference comes from, or how that plays into like what the thought process of why you asked that question, or should we not?
No, I just been really excited to see whether or not you're going to watch. Like,
I'm going to watch it, but I haven't watched it yet, so I'll let you know as soon as I do, though.
Like, yeah, like I've been wanting to talk to people about it because
I'm gonna watch it during the day. I ain't watching that tonight. I'll let you know right now. But anyway, okay. So, but I'm excited because like there was already like Sword, the book Sword, which was Sword is just, well, I can't say just like the organization, but Sword was a book that was happening before in the X-Men universe or whatnot, and it was awesome because it was about all of the intergalactics or the galactic stuff that the mutants were doing, headed by Abigail Brand, which is in this book as well. But I feel like I think X-Men Red is going to incorporate some of that Sword stuff, because I don't think Sword is going to come back as its own book. But I could be wrong about that, and I hope I am, because that book was fantastic. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Al Ewing was the one writing that book. And I'll tell you right now, like between Kieron Gillen and Al Ewing, they can handle whatever the loose threads that Hickman has left. They can do it. Like, I got complete faith based on Immortal X-Men #1 and what he was doing with Sword beforehand. I have complete faith that those two dudes can carry that torch and
Kieron Gillen
take us where we need to go.
Kieron Gillen is a dude that's not new to X-Men.
No, absolutely not.
And he's done his own stuff, his own world building on his Image book. And now he's come back to X-Men, the framework that Hickman left.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer.
Right. And that's the thing, though. Like, a lot of what Hickman did was based on some of his past work. Like, because his incarnation of Sinister is 100% directly inspired by what Kieron Gillen had done with Sinister beforehand. Like, I feel like a lot of Kieron Gillen stuff, a lot of like Mike Carey stuff that he did with X-Men, which is like stuff that,
shit.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's like that stuff is stuff that inspired Hickman to make House and Powers the way he did.
Seeing Hope here, like, I even told Emily, and she didn't know what the fuck I was talking about. Man, Hope has gotten so big; she's all grown up now. I remember when Mike Carey wrote it like 20 years ago, or so, like 17 years ago.
Yeah,
she was a baby. I remember Nosha and that Mike Carey book, and it was
just the other day. Yeah. She was a little baby on Cable's chest.
Right. Yeah. And now she's like, the whole or else dynamic of that conversation when she decides to join it. I'm like, man, she's all grown up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that was definitely part of why I was like, dude, we should talk about this book, because Jay is the biggest Hope fan I know, and he's alone in that, because the rest of us are like, okay, she's all right. Hey, I like what they did with her.
I mean, I like Hope.
I mean, I liked all the stuff with her, like the Mike Carey stuff, Messiah Complex, and what is it? Messiah Complex, and what's the other? Manifest Destiny. All that stuff was great, but it wasn't her being great. It was great around her.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And that's the whole thing, where it's like, it's unfortunate because it feels like up until the Hickman era, it felt like, okay, like Hope never quite lived up to the hype. And with Hope being like at the center of the five, basically like the person that helps makes that work, or that makes that work to the best of its ability, it's like, okay, cool. Like, we gave Hope a reason to exist. And what I like is they definitely like, and this is something that you all may not know because you're not reading X-Men books like religiously, is they've been seeding here and there. And this isn't just Hickman. These are other people where like the five, like things happen and the five is like, hey, what's up with this? Like, why are we doing this way? Like bring us into the loop. And, they talk about, like, Hope talks about that in her speech in this book, where she's like, you can, like, if you don't know that background story, it stands on its own. But if you know the background, it's like, oh, this speech doesn't come out of nowhere. Like, there's plenty of, like when we talk about like the little back matter stuff that's in books, there's been plenty of things where the five are like, hey, we see that y'all are doing this, and we're not sure if we're cool with that. Can you help us understand why it's going down this way? You know, and it's just like little different things where they're like, you asked us to bring this person back, and we did that because we want to help you all, but it feels like y'all aren't doing this the right way. And so when she comes and she's like, hey, it needs to be me because we're the 5 and we need a voice on this council. It feels very much like, hey, you can't even argue. You're right. Like, they have to say yes, because if they say no, then guess what? Friggin' the dream extinguished. Krakoa done. You know, it's like they basically pulled the plug on the whole thing. Like, you know what? I took all my other 4 homies and we're out. And you're gonna find, maybe you might find 5 other people that can replace us because there's a lot of mutants. But guess what? Their product not gonna be as hot as ours. You're gonna have some messed up mutants coming out these eggs. You'll be like, oh damn, they got the friggin' the Fox mutants. Like, damn.
They got what was it? Generation X from the 90s.
Right, exactly. You're like, damn. What happened? How come he turned out like this? It's like, well, listen, we might need to call the original 5 back because
Saturday TV Mutant X TV.
Right, because like friggin' 5+ is not doing it. You know, 5-0. You're like, nah, this isn't it. So it's cool. Like, I mean, you know, again, I love political intrigue. I love like, don't get me wrong. I want stuff to happen in my comics.
Yeah.
In the same way I want stuff to happen. Like, I want to see superhero fights and all that kind of stuff too. But I love good political intrigue when it makes sense. And in the Krakoa era, with the Quiet Council, like, this stuff all makes sense to me. Like, these are all mutants from different areas of the mutant sphere coming together to try to, like, govern. And I know, like, dude, trust me, I hear it. It sounds boring when I say it out loud. But it's not. It's really interesting.
You know, we've reviewed books where I've read them and I felt like nothing happens.
Right.
And here, there's a good chunk of the book where nothing happens, and when something finally does happen, you think it's the end of the book, and then they give you stuff with stuff happening,
right,
for a little bit. And so,
right.
But up until that point, I didn't realize I was missing that something wasn't happening. You know, like, I didn't feel like I needed something to happen in those. The book is what, 30 pages, 32 pages?
Yeah, something like that.
And, you know, stuff starts happening at like 24.
Right.
And it's like, for those 23 pages, I wasn't like,
yeah,
nah, I'm out. Like,
right.
This isn't good. It was all good from like the beginning, like the MacGuffin.
That's because you're not a good Mexican Catholic. That's why.
Well, I'm not. I'm a bad.
You have been out when Jesus is a mutant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, keep it in mind too. That's Exodus. He's a religious zealot. That like, Jesus might not be a mutant. He could just be the son of God, though.
Nah, he's a mutant. That makes sense.
Look, don't. I'll say Exodus is an unreliable narrator. Don't let him turn you off on X-Men comics.
Back in that day in Nazarene, they're like, oh, he's just stealing Horus's stick.
All I'm saying is, this dude thought Magneto was a god for a little while too. So,
look,
you know.
Up to that point, he's the only one making sense in that book.
So, you know,
like, he made enough sense to get Hope on board.
Look,
so we should rate.
We should, like, because you all know me. I could talk about X-Men all day. Let's rate Immortal X-Men #1. Jay, what do you think?
I really enjoyed it. I liked the story, the dialogue. Great seeing Celine again. Totally happy for Hope. I love this book. I would give it a 4 out of 5.
There you go.
Some of the art is not the way I want it to be, but some of the art is great.
Got you. And yeah, the fact that the Celine reference with Necrosha is crazy. Like that, like the fact, and I love that they reference it, but don't even like do like a asterisks or nothing. They're just like, hey, if you know no Crochet, you know no Crochet. If you don't, you don't. And I was just like, oh, that's so odd. Just like, they're not exactly zombies, but whatever.
The way she answered is like, yeah, they weren't, but whatever. Like,
right. It's so cool. It's so cool. Oz, what would you give Immortal X-Men #1?
2. It's
there
just,
it is.
I mean, if you like to read, then yeah, probably go higher. You guys. No, I don't like to read.
Oh, okay.
Well, it's a very good book.
Yeah. The 3 DC books he has on his pull list.
You guys talk about how great the art is. I wish I could have seen it behind the word bubbles. Or maybe the parts that you do see are so great because they just have like a third of the page to work on. And yeah, you're gonna take your time and really make that pop. But I'm not gonna read this book.
That's fair. More than fair. Moses Magnum, Immortal X-Men #1.
This is a 5 out of 5 book. Art's beautiful. Look, the word bubbles, while they may be wordy, like I defy you to like get any other wordy book. We read that Robbins, that was wordy as fuck, and it hid like body parts in action. So the word bubbles, it was wordy as fuck, but the word bubbles were wisely placed.
I would point out that I didn't like that Robbins book either.
That's true.
Yeah, but again, it's like the layout of this book was great. Like the paneling, like everything, it felt like I was watching something in motion, even though things were static. Like there's no action in it, and I can feel the motion. That's how beautiful this art with the design, the body, like the character designs, the character look. Exodus, I mean, I haven't seen Exodus look so awesome since like the trading cards. Like every pose he did, he just looked great. Like, fuck, I remember how much I loved Exodus's design.
Yeah,
let alone his whole vibe, like his whole zealotry vibe with mutants and shit is it's kind of a unique personality for the way that he does it, and it really like every character here had their moment to shine. It was well balanced, and yeah, it's look, it made me go back and buy the shit that I haven't read.
There you go. I think y'all know what I'm gonna say. 5 out of 5. Like, I love this book. Like it's exactly what I was hoping for. Especially like, they had like before this, you had the holdover kind of X Lives and X Deaths of Wolverine book. And X Lives was not great. X Deaths was interesting. But I was just like, coming out of that, I was like, I don't know if the X offices approve this joint. Who knows what we might get out of Destiny of X? And this book put all of those fears aside super quick. Where I'm like, okay, good, we're back at it. So it's gonna be a great era for X-Men with Destiny of X, and I'm excited to see all the books that come out. So yeah,
I'm just glad they didn't get Nick Spencer to take over.
Nick Spencer's still doing Spider-Man, right?
Nah. Is
he done?
Zeb Wells took over like quietly, like they didn't make an ending.
Oh.
I don't know if it's an ending thing, but like he hasn't been doing it. Like the whole Ben Reilly stuff was a Zeb Wells thing, and now like that's coming to an end. They're making a big deal about that coming to an end.
Yeah,
the next series with Zeb Wells too. Like they didn't even change creative team.
Oh, interesting.
So, yeah, like they quietly like got rid of Nick Spencer.
I didn't realize that because I knew that like the Ben Reilly, Peter Parker stuff was coming to a head recently, or soon if it hasn't happened already. I knew that was happening, and then that like the next era of Spider-Man, but I didn't realize that Zeb Wells was doing it already, and that he was going to be the one that would be like keep going with that. So that's interesting. I wonder what happened with Nick Spencer. Why they just like
they
quietly. I mean, but he did so many issues.
He did, but when in the grand scheme of things, is what 2 years worth of issues? 3 years?
I feel like it's like 3, maybe even 4.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it's look. Dan Slott did almost 10. Yeah.
But Dan Slott's the oddity. He's not the norm. Like, after Dan Slott, like Nick Spencer might be the one that did the most Spider-Man after Dan Slott.
I always say you never want to be the guy after the guy. You want to be the guy after the guy. You've heard me say that before. I might have said that when Nick Spencer took over.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm surprised he lasted this long. It's not that it's bad.
I agree.
It just wasn't interesting.
Hey, you don't have to tell me. Like I was buying Spider-Man religiously. I won't even say I was buying because I bought the books, but I didn't feel compelled to read them. Like I read like the first maybe 4 or 5 issues of Nick Spencer's Spider-Man, and I was like, I'll keep buying it, but I literally have stacks and stacks, probably 2 years worth of Spider-Man that I bought and have not read, and don't even feel like, oh, I've missed a whole bunch. Like
when Ryan Otley stopped drawing it, it really took the dive. Yeah.
There you go.
That's what kept me interested was his art.
Yeah.
So should we wrap?
Yeah, maybe we should actually, because we're going overtime, aren't we? None
of us went to Wondercon, right?
None of us went to Wondercon, and there wasn't a lot of news that came out of Wondercon because
because it was as empty as the theaters in Morbius.
Post-pandemic Wondercon. But look, from what I saw, the big story was friggin' Kevin Smith cried when he found out about Bruce Willis's aphasia.
Of happiness?
Kevin Smith crying is never a story.
Did he cry of happiness or?
No, not happiness. He cried because he loves Bruce Willis, even though
he does. He hates him.
No, listen to the story. I'm trying to tell you a story.
Oh, here comes the text.
So they famously, like you all know, Kevin Smith's not a big fan of Bruce Willis because of the experience he had with him on the movie.
Yeah.
But the producer, he felt bad about hearing about Bruce Willis's diagnosis and then put something out on social media man, I love this guy as a fan, and I'm sad to hear this. And the producer from the movie, which was a Cop Out? Is that the movie?
I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
Called him and was like, hey, I just want you to know, Bruce Willis thought you were awesome. I understand why you might not know that because of how he was how he acted on set and all that kind of stuff. But he was he thought the world of you. And I just wanted you to know that. And he was basically talking about how with this news coming out, it explains a lot of what might have happened on that set, because this is not something that he has been necessarily this is something he's been dealing with for longer than many people might know. And so he was telling that story about how the producer told him, Bruce Willis told him how highly he thought of Kevin Smith, and how that basically made him feel great because he wanted Bruce Willis to like him, but how he had all these mixed emotions because he's damn, I didn't understand why he was treating us like this on the set, and now he kind of does. So he had his night with Kevin Smith and was talking about all of this during that at WonderCon, and literally bawling on stage because he's I want Bruce Willis to be okay.
What a pussy.
Son of a bitch, Moses. Son of a bitch.
Hey, what's he got to be crying for?
Everything makes him cry these days.
Yeah, well, look, he's on borrowed time. Yeah, after
Kevin Smith's on borrowed time.
Yeah, he had the Widowmaker heart attack, and then he got a bypass, and then he went vegan, and then now he's skinny. So yeah, I'm as far as I'm concerned, he died back then.
Someone please play the outro music. Just play the outro music.
I'm the one that does it. I'm sorry, Kevin Smith. I love you.
Listen, Kevin Smith was so nice to us. Like, literally to us.
Yeah. He's always, Nah, he's a great dude. And,
Yeah.
You sons of bitches. This is why I don't mess with any of you.
well, here's the thing. That when you talk about wordy shit, he's the one that made me appreciate wordy shit, whether it's movies or comics. You read any of those Silent Bob comics or Clerks comics? Dude, word bubbles like this. You know?
Yeah. How do you have that much text and one character doesn't say anything?
But it's compelling. Like that's the beauty of it. Like it's the whole Clerks takes place behind the counter of the whole movie, and it's brilliant.
Kevin Smith literally made a Daredevil villain that was based on onomatopoeia. Come on, man. That's brilliant.
Yeah, he took silent actions and made them into more text.
Yeah, and it worked. It was great.
It was fantastic, and the fact that Oz can't appreciate it bothers me.
Yeah, but you know.
Hey, final thoughts, goddammit. Final thoughts. Let's start with Jay. Jay, final thoughts, because you're the one that's least annoying right now.
So I'm catching up on Young Justice, and I was behind, but I'm catching up, and it is just simply amazing.
The cartoon or the comic?
The cartoon.
Got it.
They took Superboy in a completely different direction from what I thought they were going to do with them, and it's pretty good.
I gotta watch that too. Damn it. Oz, final thoughts.
Episode 2 of Moon Knight was a little better.
I agree. Moses Magnum, final thoughts.
Look, go join our Discord, fantasticforum.live. Click that link, buy our merch so that Larry can get me a good birthday present.
Yeah, do that. Why don't you want Moses to have birthday presents, you filthy animals?
Because I talk shit about Kevin Smith.
That's a good reason. You're right. Yeah. We're boycotting birthday presents.
Yeah, just join us live and join us in our playlist, one shots, Oz's package, all that shit. That's all. There it is.
There it is. We want to thank you all so much for hanging out with us. We do appreciate you. We'll be back next week. If there's something you want to hear, let us know. We want to hear from you. We want to know what you like, what you don't like, what you want to hear more of. Please give us some feedback. We want to hear it. So until then, we're the Fantastic Forum. Good night. Caught you off guard.